Inside the Huddle from ClaxonSports.com.
Welcome to a special edition of Inside the Huddle. I'm Casey Claxon, joined today by WTNS's Steve Corries and also Natalie Holbrook from ClaxonSports.com and sideline reporter for the WTNS football broadcast. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
And you as well.
Cooz, we did a show back in the summer, kind of off script. It was we called it I think it was like our Coffee with Cooz edition of Talking Football, and we got a good response from it. And I think all of your friends said, "Hey, you got to do something like that again."
And we're going to try to have a good time with it here this afternoon as well.
Yes, we are. We're gonna do our best. But as we were talking before, we kind of did there wasn't really a script, not a huge amount of preparation into what we did before. But today we're gonna kind of talk about the fall sports season and then bridge into the winter sports season to talk about some of the successes and then kind of highlight what is coming up. So we thought it'd be cool to have Natalie join us with us today because she was on the sideline. She do a great job for you this year,
She did
Cooz?
a great job on the sidelines, and it was different for us. We haven't done that for a lot of years, and being able to coordinate everything. Natalie being able to find some guests to talk to, which is it's not something you can do on a spur of the moment. You got to really kind of work your way through that. She did a great job finding people, and I think it really worked well.
And I know I appreciate all the work she did with ClaxonSports.com, all the photos and after the game interviews. So a joint effort. So thank you, Miss Natalie.
I enjoyed it.
So glad that you could be with us today. Well, let's talk a little bit about the fall sports season. Ridgewood obviously making the state football playoffs. They were excited. That run ended a little quicker than they would have liked, but they pretty much played Ridgewood football, toe to toe right with Centerburg there at the end.
Really, it was for Ridgewood. It was one of those years that if you really go back and reflect a little bit on it, was the fact that they did finish with a really good year. I believe they finished 9-3. For them, that's probably not a satisfactory number, but when you consider the number of people they had injured during the course of the season, the number of people they lost due to transfer rules, those sort of things, they did a great job. Their two losses during the regular season, powerhouse football teams. You lose to Garraway, who's still playing, and you've got another game with Indian Valley. They're still playing. So, their losses were significant losses, and I think all in all, when they reflect back, it's going to be a pretty good season for the Ridgewood General football people.
So I know they're always looking ahead, and we'll be excited to see what comes about with football in Coshocton County coming up next year.
It's always a new year, and I know Ridgewood, they're looking forward to it already. They've got a ton of people back, and the rest of the teams, they're going to try to get better as well, and and see if they can get back to where they were at one point in time.
Let's move over now to the soccer pitch. The Riverview Black Bears, they had another great season at making it back to the regionals again. I know, Natalie, you covered Riverview, and I got to see them play in that regional semifinal match, but they had another great season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they did a great job. I mean, I think it was fun to be able to go out and watch them, and I enjoyed my time covering them. I mean, it was a blast.
It's always tough to come back off of a state championship run as well. Everybody knows who you are that next season. They started out probably in their terms, had a lot of ties, played pretty well early. Then they got into the tournament. Everybody kind of thought, maybe they won't quite go so well. Regional final and losing to a good Wheelersburg team that they had beaten the previous year. So, another outstanding year out there for the Bear soccer people.
Yeah, and I know Vince Andrews has got that team rolling, and I know they will be back, and they'll be eyeing to get back to another district title and to the regionals once again. So we congratulate them on a great season. Moving on to golf, that was a bright spot. We had two Coshocton County golf teams make it to the state tournament, one being the Ridgewood girls team for the first time ever. So congratulations to Amy and Kevin Lott for their success.
Well, that's great, and they've got some players too, and they did a great job getting into that tournament. and didn't go as well as they probably hoped, but still, hey, when you get to the state tournament, that's big news, and congratulations to those folks.
Yeah, they've got a large group of seniors, and I know, Natalie, you got to cover them, and you were down there at the state tournament, so what was the feel like other than the rain?
You called it a bright spot, and weather-wise, it was not a bright spot. I mean, success-wise, it was a bright spot in the season, but weather-wise, I mean, I was like in a monsoon the entire weekend, but it was a fun time, and the girls were excited to be there. You could tell that they were just happy to be at the state tournament. It didn't matter what they were getting; they were just excited to be there and be able to play. And Riverview was the same way with the boys. Covered them over there at the boys tournament. The courses were only 20 minutes away, so I was bouncing back between boys and girls, and it all turned out really good. I had a blast.
Yeah, and we talked about Riverview having it rolling on the soccer pitch, but on the links on the golf course, the Gress boys, there is no stopping them.
No.
They really are. They're really great players. They had other people as well. They did a great job. Finished third, and and very easily could have maybe finished second if they'd have got that second round in. But as Natalie said, the weather just didn't cooperate whatsoever. The funny thing about it's not funny, but you really think about it, we probably didn't have a drop of rain for 6 weeks before that.
And it just
tournament
decided to happen that weekend. Yes.
Right. Well, and you talk about the Bears' home course. They play there at Hickory Flats, and that was one of the driest golf courses. I know Logan McPeak, who's on the Claxon team, and he had to play out there. He's like, man, this thing is dry.
Yeah.
So they were battling through a lot of elements, and that was a difficult course to play. But congratulations to Coach Gress and his players, and Caleb Klein was the one senior. He had an outstanding career, and they were just a joy to watch throughout the year.
Yeah, they have 3 players coming back next year, and actually 4 coming back next year. So, I know they're looking forward to it. Have some younger kids that have really gotten involved. And, if you talk to Coach Gress, that's the one thing he wanted to do. He wanted to make sure all these kids start playing golf, and I think they've got that rolling. So it's going to continue for a while.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's move on now to volleyball. We just keep talking about the success out there in Black Bear country, but Rose Olinger's team, another trip to the regionals.
Another trip to the regional. I think it's like 4 in a row for them to be at the regionals, and you know what? They had an outstanding team. Met up against Meadowbrook, who's really it's in the same league. They're in the lower division, but still Meadowbrook an outstanding team. They ended up losing to them, but all in all, another great season. Haley Balo, a big year for her. She set the kills record out there. Also, Kelsey Smith on the assist record as well. So, they've still got it rolling. They've got practically everybody, but Haley and I believe Haley Myers back. So they're going to be formidable again next year.
Yeah, it should be pretty good. Let's talk a little bit now about the Ridgewood girls cross country team. They had a historic season, taking a team to the regionals, and Kenzie Bice going to state.
Yeah, Kenzie Bice went to state. She went out there and she ran her heart out. Everybody was very pleased with how she performed. I know that she had a great season, and she was actually one of my seniors, so I got to do her senior photos, and so I know that she was very excited about going to state and just very thankful for the community supporting her and being able to go out there and run. So.
Well, I know that was one of their big goals in terms of making it out of the districts. Their goal was to take the actual team, to the next level, and they were able to do that.
Yeah,
so.
and another thing that we need to talk about is this year we started covering band. We started covering. We started covering band, so we got to go out and do a video with each of the local schools this year with the band director. So we got to talk about that and kind of see how competition band works, which I thought that was pretty cool. Did you think that was pretty cool?
I thought it was great. Big thanks to McWayne Ductal for being the sponsor on ClaxonSports.com of our band interviews, and Ridgewood making every year they're going back to state.
Yep.
They were Ridgewood's able to go, and Riverview a great year as well.
And I think
Coshocton
all of our bands qualified for state this year. I think all of them did. They all got the numbers during their competitions. I don't know much about all the band numbers, but I'm learning. I was at competitions this year, but yes, it was a good time. Always have fun hanging out with them. So.
Were you in the band? Did you play anything in the band?
No. I was in the band in 6th grade.
6th grade. Okay.
6th grade. Played the saxophone.
Cooz, what instrument did you play? Did you play an instrument? Look at that face. He was shooting free throws.
I was shooting free throws.
If you had to, I'll sneak in a question for Cooz's question. If you had to, if you had to play an instrument, what would you want to learn to play?
You know what I think's neat? I like the sax.
Saxophone. That's what I learned
That's
to play.
what I played.
That's what I played in the 5th grade band. So.
A lot of the bands that I like, some of the older time bands, they always have good sax people, and I've always liked that.
Yeah. All right. Very cool. Very cool.
I think even grandson Will, I think he plays the sax.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Very cool. Yeah. I want to say thanks to Main Street Station for hosting our broadcast today. Should have mentioned that earlier. We are on the scene here in the restaurant at Main Street Station. They're one of our gold sponsors at ClaxonSports.com. We want to say thank you to them. And also the Coshocton Regional Medical Center helping us out. They were a big sponsor of Talking Football with our antics all season long.
And that's a good word for it, antics.
Well, it wouldn't be fitting without teasing that we will have a question for Cooz today.
Oh, no.
My favorite.
Yeah, so we will have a question for Cooz a little bit later on in the program. But as we now bridge the gap into the winter sports, did I leave anybody out in the fall? I think we covered everybody. I'm just thinking.
We did our best.
Okay, we did our best to kind of hit the highlights of the teams that had a lot of success in the fall sports. So let's move on now to the winter sports season. We got obviously basketball. The Riverview girls have already got 2 games under their belt. Ridgewood's got a game in. The Coshocton girls have won a couple on the JV side, and so I know everybody's excited for the hoop season to get started.
Well, that's kind of my bailiwick. I'm a basketball guy, so I'm excited to get things underway. And, both, as you mentioned, games have already been played. Ridgewood girls have played a game, 2 for Riverview. Coshocton, as mentioned, in the JV side, have gotten a couple games in, and, have got a couple wins as well, which is, really a plus for that program, because they're trying to take a pause this season, try to build things back, get their numbers back, and the early indication is it's working right to the way they wanted to do it.
Well, we were talking about that a little bit earlier, and I think that is such a smart move on their part to play a junior varsity schedule. They're not playing as many games as a varsity team would play, but you have to just accept where you are and then look to build from there.
I agree with you, and they've done a good job of that. And I've been to I went to a scrimmage, been to a practice, and and the competition level is a lot better. They have more numbers this year, which I know they're excited about, and it looks like at the lower level as well, people are starting to play again, and that's really what Coach Hilgenberg wanted to try to accomplish: get the numbers back up and go from there.
Yeah, and they've put the ball in the basket, because they had 40-some points last night and had 50, I think, over the weekend in one of their games. So that's positive. Things are happening, and you're building confidence with those young ladies.
Absolutely, and I know they're excited about.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about the girls' side. Renina Brindley's team at Riverview has gotten a couple of games under their belt, and they too are kind of in a building phase.
They are as well. Their numbers not quite to where they would like to see them as well, and it's going to be a struggle. They do have some people some really good players, so that'll help them. But they're in a really competitive league, and that upper division of that. Down at the MVL, it's going to be very difficult, and it's going to be a struggle, but they're going to keep after it. John
Slusser is back coaching girls basketball again for Ridgewood. Why are you smiling?
When it comes to Coach Slusser, that's about all I can do is smile. But yeah, they opened up with a loss, their first game, but they had a really good season a year ago. I believe a 16-win season. Ended up winning a big game against Monroe Central before losing to a really good Bel Air team in the districts. And so he lost a ton of people, and he's in a rebuilding mode as well out there. And they lost their opener, but I think you're going to see them get some wins as the season progresses.
Yeah. On the boys' side, we've got obviously the 3 county teams kind of itching to get started. The boys' cage season will be starting real soon.
Really will be, and Coshocton coming off. We'll talk about them first. They're coming off a 21 win season a year ago, tied the school record for wins. 21-5, lost in the district finals to a good Garaway team. Probably didn't play their best, they'll tell you, but still an outstanding season for them. They're in a rebuilding mode, not a numbers mode, a rebuilding mode. They lose 4 starters plus a couple off the bench. They're going to be J.J. Herman, the coach's son, will be the only returning really senior. Champ Haley will be another returning letter winner. So they're going to play a lot of young kids, so it'll be interesting to see how they develop as the season progresses.
Dale Jennings at Riverview, he had his team playing really well last year. Of course, they had a lot of talent. They coming right down to the very end, and matching up with Tri-Valley at the end of the season. But they were playing with some of the best that the MVL had to offer last year.
Yeah, they really did, and they had a big win over Coshocton during this regular season, and then really in the tournament had a rough game with Coshocton, 58-50. But it was back and forth to Coshocton pulled away late. But he's got two seniors coming back that are guys that can get things done around the rim, and the Wesley boy and Leighton Massey. So they've got 2 kids. One of their guards won't be available due to a broken collarbone for probably till maybe January. Hopefully he can get healed up by then. But he's going to have to piece some things together on the other 3 positions to start the season. Ridgewood, on the other hand, Coach Dolick has about 3 starters back. They also have a collarbone issue with Jackson Cabot, who's been hurt and from the football season. He's their starting point guard. Logan Reidenball inside will be a good force inside there as well. They're going to have to find how to piece the other 3 together as they get ready to start their season.
So we wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for setting in with us here as we record our broadcast today at the Main Street Station. We're going to talk more about winter sports here in just a minute, but I thought now we'd transition to our question for Cooz.
Oh, let me take a deep breath.
It's not that bad today. It's not that bad. I got to pick it, so it'll be a fun question. Are you ready?
Since I don't know what it is, I have no time to prepare.
I always liked it whenever I would surprise him with a question, and just that look on his face.
Let me just preface with, we're going into Thanksgiving, right? We got the big Michigan Ohio State game coming up this week.
I did hear that.
Right? Yeah. Did you hear that?
I heard that
it might be something.
Okay.
Might be something like that happening. So I thought it'd be a perfect time to get a little bit of the Thanksgiving spirit, along with the football spirit, and craft a question for you, Cooz. So my question for you is: if you had to draft one Thanksgiving food to build your starting lineup around, what are you taking first overall?
One food.
Yep, one food.
Well, that's an easy one. Thank you for finally having an easy question for Cooz. It's got to be turkey. How can you? I am a turkey. So
you are a turkey. Okay, there we go.
That's what we want to have.
All right.
Turkey.
All right.
The king gobbler right here.
Yeah. So talking about Thanksgiving, Cooz, give us a little insight. When you sit down at the table, what do you put on your plate? You got the turkey, but are you a stuffing guy or no? Not
the
big
fixins.
in that.
Yeah. What kind of fixins?
Let me just put it. I'll make this simple.
Okay.
If there's anything's on there, and I don't care what it is, it'll end up on my plate.
Okay, all right.
Regardless of what it is, a veggie, mashed potatoes, noodles, whatever, it doesn't matter.
All right.
Except one thing, I'm not a big dessert guy, so I don't get into the pies.
Okay.
See, now that's what I was going to ask. Like, what's your favorite Thanksgiving pie? I mean, I'm a pumpkin man myself, but what?
I like the apple.
I like watching people do it. So it's okay. Now that you've got me, what about you? What do you guys like to do?
Oh, well, I'm a straight up turkey. I like turkey. We'll have turkey and ham, but my wife's mom always brings over a pumpkin pie, so that always makes me happy. So that's always good.
And then the best part of it for us is that my daughter Stacy over in Columbus, she's the one that actually hosts everybody. So I get to slide over there. So I don't have to do anything.
Hey, you and Karen just cruising in.
That's classic Cooz mode right there.
So what about you for Thanksgiving, Holbrook? What are you doing?
Yeah. We're just gonna hang out and have a good dinner. But I'm kind of a turkey gal. I don't like the stuffing. I don't like all that. I'm kind of simple. I like the mashed potatoes, noodles, and turkey, and that's about it. and apple pie. That's what I take. So
Now, I heard a rumor that you're going to be doing something else on Thanksgiving. We'll kind of transition to talk back about football. But you are an Indian Valley grad. A lot of people ask me, where's that Natalie Holbrook from?
Right.
You're an Indian Valley grad.
Yes.
And so you've got to be thinking about Indian Valley football this week.
Yeah, we got Indian Valley football coming up this week, and I am over the moon excited for this game. We got Indian Valley versus Glenville. Glenville comes to the line with a lot of great players. I think they have about 3 people going to Ohio State. They got Sincere Johnson, but Indian Valley also has Grady Kinsey, and they also have Riker Williams, and they got Brogan O'Connor on the line. So I think it's going to be exciting for that. But on Thanksgiving, I'm actually taking it out to Indian Valley, and we're going to be at Thanksgiving practice.
You're going to practice?
So at 9 o'clock in the morning, we are having open practice, and I'm going to be there.
Well, that sounds fantastic. I think that's great. Are you going to film a little bit of that?
Yeah, we're going to film a little bit. Me and
Good.
Logan are going to do some interviews, so stay tuned to see that on Claxon Sports.
Are you just going to talk to Logan?
Yeah, I
probably
don't know.
not get the players then.
Yeah, we're not going to get the players. Just me and Logan. We're gonna talk. Let them get focused.
And Logan could talk for hours about Indian Valley
Logan
football.
loves Indian Valley football. If there's anything,
Well, he should.
If there's anything he can talk about, it's Indian Valley sports. It
He could
doesn't
talk
matter
for
what
days.
it is.
Yeah, he wasn't just a great golfer for the Indian Valley
No.
golf team this year. He had a great season.
Yes.
But obviously, Indian Valley had a great golf season too.
Right.
And Logan was a big part of that.
Yeah.
But he's a talent, man. He can talk all day
He
about
can.
football.
And he knows all the stats. Around the county, you want to know something about stats, you ask
And
Logan.
it's all right here.
Yep.
He's
he doesn't
not,
have
he's
to
not
look
looking
it up. Nope.
He's
It's just all in his head.
You're kind of like that too, Cooz.
That was my thing. So yeah, that's kind of, I was a stats guy growing up.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore.
Yeah. Natalie, have you ever heard the story about how Cooz got into broadcasting?
No, actually.
Well, we're not going into that.
Can we tell that story? I think we should tell the story. So Tom Thompson was a legendary broadcaster. When you've been at the radio station, you've probably seen pictures of him.
Yes.
But Tom invited Cooz to set in on a basketball game. So I'm going to let you tell it from there.
Actually, it was I was just out of the service, and I was working at Carol's Men's Shop. And he came in one day, and he said, "Listen, I need a stats guy Saturday night." I said, "Well, I can do that," but I said, "I'm not talking on the radio." He said, "That's okay. You don't have to. Just do the stats. Just give them to me." And I said, "That's perfect." As you would expect, first half did the stats, handed it to him. He read the stats. And I'm just kind of looking around the arena or the gym, see who's all there. And all of a sudden he said, "Cooz, can you tell us a little bit about what you thought about the first half?" And it was, but I got him laughing so hard that he had to break for a commercial way earlier than he wanted to. And that's from that day on, I kind of fell in step and worked with him for 30 plus years. And
that's when the radio bug bit you. You couldn't get back
That's
out.
a good story. That is a good story.
I love that story. That
good.
is a good one. The legendary Tom Thompson. Let's go on now to talk a little bit more about the rest of the winter sports season. I mean, wrestling is big in Coshocton County. They'll be hosting the Coshocton County Classic again this year. Coach Collins, I know he's always excited about that. So
yeah, they do such a good job with that as well. They always have 20, 25 teams show up for that, and it's
2 days,
2-day deal, and always well represented. And to put something on like that of that magnitude and have it go off really without a hitch is unless you've done it, you really don't know how much work goes into that. And they've done a great job with that for a number of years, and they get rave reviews from the people that actually come around and play in that.
Yeah, and I know, just looking at the schedule for postseason, I think Coshocton's also hosting one of the, I would say, district qualifiers. Is it a district tournament?
It's like a D2 district wrestling tournament or something like that.
Yeah, so they'll be hosting that again.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show you that they've got the state knows what they do, and they're one of the people they want involved with their stuff.
Well, being at a lot of wrestling tournaments, I've covered a lot. I would say that is one of my favorite tournaments to go to because they do such a good job at keeping the stats, keeping the numbers of the wrestlers. At normal tournaments, at a high school, you don't really get that. You kind of just get that at state. But Coshocton does a very good job with keeping the kids' bout numbers and stuff like that. So it's super organized over there.
Yeah.
haven't had an opportunity to really talk to any of the coaches yet, so I'm not really sure, a lot of it from an individual standpoint, who they have and who they expect to do well as the season progresses. But as time goes on, here at Claxon Communications, we'll keep you posted on what happens in a lot of the meets.
Yeah, and I know, the Bethels at Ridgewood, Coach has done a great job, and Riverview, Coach Devin, they've started to get their numbers built back up to have a full slate of people, and, we're excited to see how those two teams fare.
I do them as well, and and I know a couple of those coaches pretty well, and I'm always excited to see how they do.
Yeah. Some of the other winter sports that, Natalie, you're going to be covering is swimming.
Yeah, we got swimming coming up.
Swimming is big, and we are so blessed in Coshocton County to have a high school that actually has a pool that all 3 county schools can swim at.
And really, if you think about that, I've talked to some people that are really involved with that, and there's very few, if any, in our area that even have their own pool. And I it's interesting to me to see how they even go about having a swim team when they really, unless it's a Y or someplace like that where they've had to run it out, it's very difficult to swim in. You're absolutely right. To have that available in this county is fantastic.
Yeah. So be looking for photos and coverage for swim meets, as Natalie will be covering that on claxonsports.com. And then we also have bowling. That's kind of an emerging sport. The bowling teams have already gotten underway. Riverview's girls won a tournament, and the boys are 2-0, and they're going to be matching up. I think they've got Riverview plays Ridgewood, I think, on Monday at Legacy Lanes. And that's the other thing that we're blessed with, to have Legacy Lanes in Coshocton, such a nice facility for teams to come and play. And I guess I didn't realize this last year, but, Muskingum bowls at Coshocton. Yeah. Muskingum University comes to Coshocton and bowls there, and I think at times they've even had like the OAC tournament.
Yeah, they've had teams in there. It is. You wonder. You think, boy, wouldn't you think Zanesville, Cambridge, but they'd rather come down 83 and go to Coshocton.
Yeah, and out at Riverview, they have. Well, I shouldn't say Riverview, but out at River Greens, they've hosted the OAC golf tournament every year. So it's like you've got these, the Ohio Athletic Conference is coming to Coshocton County to do a lot of their events. So we're very fortunate to have that type of facility in our hometown.
We really are, and and then from the bowling standpoint, I know I would call that an emerging sport.
Yeah.
Obviously, even maybe I don't know about you, Natalie, but in our day, bowling was never been considered any kind of a high school sport. And so it's. I think it's great, and gives kids the opportunity to play another sport that maybe they normally wouldn't be able to do, and that's fantastic.
I know. I mentioned Ridgewood had already had a bowling match that they went out and played at Conotton Valley. Have you seen Conotton Valley bowling alley at the Rocket Center? Have you seen that?
It's insane.
I have
it's
not.
Awesome. It's so cool, man.
You got to go out there and check it out.
We actually on our basketball schedule, and I think January we have there's a tournament up there. Basically, we have a couple games that we'll be doing out there, so that'll give me an opportunity to kind of tour that facility.
Maybe you guys should go out and roll a couple rounds.
Oh yeah, there we go.
I would
destroy you at bowling. Don't even.
It wouldn't even be close. I would
You'd sneak in between games.
Yeah.
Oh, you would win. You think you would win? Oh, this might have to be something.
Oh, we might have to film that.
We might have to.
Is
have
there a
bowling
break?
Match.
I know. Coshocton is playing out there, and Riverview's playing out there. We could make it we can make a break. Grudge match.
Yeah.
There's something in between. Or show up early. You guys could go
just
bowl
play
around.
like 5 frames. Best of 5.
Yeah. We'll talk to Eddie Marsh. He's the AD out there. We'll see if you can get that set up, or maybe you guys could do your interview in there or something like that. I don't know. Maybe we record another show out there. I don't know.
And Eddie Marsh is the one that handles all that.
He's the AD out there.
He's the AD, so okay.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. So he's been running the ship out there the last couple of years anyway.
I did not know that.
So yeah. Yeah, so that should be fun. Well, hey, guys, thanks for setting in with us, and happy Thanksgiving to both of you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
And we're excited about the winter sports season. So, tune in to 99.3 WTNS. You're going to hear Cooz on the call for a lot of the radio broadcasts. We'll be live streaming some of those games throughout the season. So the Claxon sports team will be there. And make sure you catch Natalie Holbrook on claxonsports.com. Lots of interviews for Inside the Huddle. Who you got lined up next? Is anybody?
I'm not real sure what we got next, but we got sports out the wazoo. So
Well, you could always-
there's stuff headed this way. So.
You could always text, John Slusser, and
I
he'd be
know.
like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, just come on out. We'll do a girls' basketball interview.
Yeah.
That would be take the path of least resistance in the beginning.
Yes,
You can always get, what you like to call him, Johnny Football.
Johnny Football. That's his name in my phone. It's Johnny Football.
Does it really say
Yeah, it's
prove it?
really Johnny Football. I'm telling you. I'm not kidding. It's Johnny Football, man.
Oh.
Look at this.
Show it to Cooz. He can attest. Coach Slusser will just love this. He'll
I don't
just
know
think
where
that's
it's at.
good. Oh, yeah.
It's in here.
Right. It's like Cooz saying he got a hole in one.
I'm telling you, I'm going to find it after the show. And his name in here is Johnny
Screenshot.
Football. It is
Screenshot.
Johnny Football.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, again, happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. And we hope you have a safe and happy holiday season and a holiday week. And a happy Thanksgiving once again to you guys. And
You both as well.
And thanks for setting in here on our special Thanksgiving edition of Inside the Huddle from WTNS and ClaxonSports.com.